I came back to TikTok to defend myself against wild accusations, but I also came back because I want to apologize for things that I genuinely got wrong.
This will give them enough to say, look, see, he apologizes. He takes accountability for his actions. His opponents, on the other hand, they never do. Well, sometimes there's no reason to apologize if you've done nothing wrong.
You think what Hassan's saying is wrong?
Of course, he's completely insane.
They start overtaking the ship. And they're like, guess what, dog? No more trade to Israel.
He's completely insane. This is no joke. I like him, but his politics are insane.
So, Ethan just returned to TikTok to correct the record on people criticizing him and to apologize for his statements on Israel being a great and diverse place in the wake of a genocide. And Hassan wasted absolutely zero time to make this about himself and his orbiters, because he loves to use this disgusting conflict as a shield for being irresponsible. My dude, what are we doing here? Why does everything have to be about you? Imagine my shock. Somehow, Hassan is turning Ethan's apology into a lecture on Ethan, saying he's incredibly racist for saying Hassan and his orbiters promote terrorism. This guy is actually insisting he has done nothing wrong and that Ethan has just gone off the deep end.
I came back to TikTok to defend myself against wild accusations, but I also came back because I want to apologize for things that I genuinely got wrong. For example,
I'm planning to go to Israel in June with my parents, and I'm actually really excited to go there. I want to show you guys how beautiful, how multicultural, how like free it feels for people, or just, it's a beautiful place, it is. It's one of the most diverse places I've ever been.
Looking back, I definitely feel ashamed for the way I spoke about Israel with such levity at the time that a genocide was happening. I completely understand why people could watch this clip and judge me harshly for it. I want to apologize to anyone in the Palestinian diaspora or anybody that's been affected by this war that felt that I was trivializing the suffering, the horror that you've gone through. And for that, I deeply am sorry, and I'm ashamed of this clip.
And as soon as Hassan got wind of Ethan apologizing, he did about exactly what you would expect. Turn this apology that has nothing to do with him into some absurd ramble about himself and how Ethan slighted him and that Ethan isn't pure enough to be pro-Palestinian. Basically doing what he always does and using what's happening in Gaza as a literal shield to protect himself from everything irresponsible he or his orbiters has ever done or said. Claiming all those clips are just people taking him out of context to make him look bad, and that it's all inherently racist, and that none of these criticisms wagered against him are legitimate.
I guess I try to desperately look at the silver lining here, and the silver lining I find in this moment is that there are a lot of people who spent every fucking waking moment being monstrous pieces of shit for the past 2 years. From the likes of people in prominent positions of power who had all of the power to do something about this and they refused to do so, down to fucking YouTubers, okay? Down to YouTubers who spent the last 2 years cementing their legacy as rapacious dick riders of Israel by trying to deplatform all of its prominent critics. Of course, they still, on the one hand, are seemingly proud of their accomplishments in that time period, while simultaneously trying to rewrite the narrative as though they did not actively try to call every somewhat brown or Muslim-sounding critic of Israel a terrorist, an Islamist fundamentalist terrorist of the highest order that deserves not only scrutiny but also potential prosecution. Definitely deplatforming, so much so that the entire platform that hosts any sort of dissent against Israel and Israel's genocide must also suffer material harm. Wonder who I'm talking about. Wonder who I could be referencing. A person who, now that now that TikTok is back in the hands of someone who is sympathetic to the Zionist cause, might be trying to rewrite history. I wonder who they are.
To defend myself
What
against
is this?
wild accusations.
Wait,
but
what?
I also came back because I want to apologize for things that I genuinely got wrong. For example,
We're planning to go to Israel in June with my parents, and I'm actually really excited to go there. I want to show you guys how beautiful, how multicultural, how like free it feels for people, or just, it's a beautiful place. It is. It's one of the most diverse places I've ever been.
looking back, I definitely feel ashamed for the way I spoke about Israel with such levity at the time that a genocide was happening. I completely understand why people.
That's cool. That's a good first step, I think. That's a good first step. It's just, if only that was the only reason why people were like, hey, man, I think you might be defending Israel a little too hard, you know? Calling its prominent critics of Muslim background terrorists and its prominent critics of Jewish background token Jews, but Hamas supporters all the same.
You know, only if Hassan could have just left it at, that's cool, that's a good first step. But nah, he had to use this as an opportunity to try and clear his name again, and to use a genocide as an opportunity to claim people like Ethan criticizing him and his orbiters as being insanely racist. Because obviously, all the criticism wagered against him and people like Frogan is obviously just because they come from a Muslim background, right? You know, it's not like this guy has played terrorist propaganda on multiple occasions, equating it to a music video, or cheered on and interviewed Houthis, or said he doesn't have an issue with Hezbollah. What about his comments on 9/11? What about his comments on his favorite flag? We could go on and on about this, guys. To claim that everyone saying you support terrorism are just racist is just so profoundly disingenuous that honestly, I'm not sure how you even say that with a straight face.
Bro, are we about to have a Houthi rebel on stream? Yes, brother. What do you mean? Excuse me. Of course I'm about to have a... I'm a journalist, okay? This is...
He's the leader of Hezbollah, the general secretary of Hezbollah.
What's Hezbollah?
Hezbollah
Is that small guy?
Hezbollah is this is the same name.
Okay.
Hezbollah is a paramilitary organization that is also a part of the Lebanese parliament.
Do we like them or no?
I think as a resistance group, they're pretty successful against Israel. But everybody hates them. Like everybody in the region, a lot of people don't like them. Like
I like what you like.
I don't have an issue with them. Let's just say.
Oh, you want to see a Houthi musical?
Sure.
These were the people that the Saudis were killing, by the way. Just so you know, these fucking musically gifted individuals.
Yeah.
I'm gonna grab my food. So they started taking over these ships. They started targeting the ships. If you pass through, they communicate with you. They're like, hey, where are you going? Whatever, blah, blah, blah. And if you're trying to get in there, we're going to bomb you.
What? And they're coming in hot with guns.
Yeah, but you have to understand, this is a deterrence.
America deserved 9/11, dude. F- it. I'm saying it.
We're there.
I think it's pretty clear why people would say you support terrorism, Hassan. It literally has nothing to do with where your family comes from, or your background, or anything like that. All of this is simply based off what you have showed to the public over and over. And to be honest, dude, you know you have even played into this yourself as a joke. But sure, go off balding king and tell us about why Ethan's criticisms around this are rooted in racism.
There's so much more that Ethan Klein has done, but I'll take it. I'll take this first apology. I think it's good. It more so just represents the tide shift that is finally even hitting him in the face. You know what I mean? For the longest time, he just refused to recognize what was going on, and the walls kept closing in. Yes, as Omar al-Akkad said, one day we will all have been against this. One day. And it's getting there right now. There's part of the reason why I didn't, take too much offense over the context nuke that Ethan Klein put together at the time that he thought was going to be the end of my fucking career. How foolish, how stupid. It was because he's not a believer in anything, really. Well, I guess maybe the state of Israel and the Zionist project. But outside of that, he's not a believer in anything beyond, I guess, whatever suits his fancy, whatever hurts his narcissistic feelings. So narcissistic that he can make an ongoing genocide all about himself and his own personal fucking feelings. Having said that, the reason why I didn't give a shit too much is because time will pass. And I knew that eventually people would recognize right from wrong. To this day, so much of the dumb nonsense that I see online from people who think like, oh, I'm pro-Palestine too. I'm just pro-Palestine in not this direction, but some other fucking unforeseeable direction. No matter where I go, when I see these comments like, Hassan, isn't that guy like, doesn't he glaze terrorists? From some of the dumbest right-wingers of all time, and even some dumb liberals who don't know any better. It all stems back to the same deplatforming initiatives that ultimately failed, conducted by Sex Pestany, who ruined his own career once again, and also his partner in crime, Ethan Klein. Not only did he use those clips out of context to drive home an incredibly racist narrative that a critic of Israel was actually a terrorist, a Muslim critic of Israel was actually a terrorist, over and over again, really leaning into those Islamophobic sentiments, weaponizing it like it was nothing, on the wrong side of a goddamn genocide. But also, even went as far as to directly, materially align with Destiny's partner, his podcast co-host, Dan Saltman, a 60-year-old psychopath who also, just like Ethan Klein, tried to actively not only deplatform me and many other critics of Israel, but also went so far as to initiate a adpocalypse, to try to initiate an adpocalypse against an entire platform of content creators on Twitch.
This apology isn't for you, Hassan. Like, why do you gotta be so weird about this? Ethan seems like he wants to turn down the temperature in the light of Charlie Kirk's assassination, but Hassan clearly doesn't want that. What do you mean he only believes in the state of Israel and the Zionist project, Hassan? Like, I honestly don't get it. Why is him saying the government is full of genocidal freaks not good enough for you? Like, why are you gatekeeping a genocide like you're at the cool kids table in high school saying the fat kid can't sit with you guys? It's just so weird, dude. This guy claims and claims he wants to stop what's happening in Gaza and raise awareness. Then he acts like this. Because all that really matters to Hassan is his ego. And yes, every single clip of Hassan glazing terrorists is taken out of context. I have a question, Hassan. Why are there so many clips people can take you out of context with to claim you glazed terrorists? Once? Sure. Twice? Maybe. But brother, we have countless examples of this. Some would say this even shows a pattern. Also, why is this balding adult man that is pushing 40 constantly exaggerate his critic's age? You aren't in your early 20s anymore, dude. The woke Bay era is dead. This is just weird, dude.
So yeah, it's a good start to apologize for saying that you were going to go to the multifaceted, multicultural Israel amidst the genocide and refuse to understand what my criticisms were on that front. I know for many out of touch fans of Ethan Klein who don't care about anything but whatever Ethan Klein says and does, this hopefully will give them a little bit of comfort to be able to defend him in broad daylight. You know? This will give them enough to say, look, see, he apologizes. He takes accountability for his actions. His opponents, on the other hand, they never do. Well, sometimes there's no reason to apologize if you've done nothing f***ing wrong. It's so crazy for me that it's just like all of this could have been avoided if he just listened to his f***ing friend at the time. When his podcast co-host had his best interest in mind and was trying to be like, listen, dude, here's why you're coming across like you're defending Israel. You need to dial it back. People have no capacity to understand what's in your heart and in your mind. They only have a capacity to hear what you're saying. And what you're saying seems a whole lot like you're defending Israel. He said he laid off you because of the whole Charlie Kirk thing. So there's that at least. Great. Remember when he also said that I falsely claimed that I was issuing a death threat against his wife, and then got mad at Destiny because Destiny took that as an opportunity to literally issue an actual direct death threat against me. And then he openly stated, oh, you ruined it. We really had a win here, but you had to open your mouth and ruin it. Now he can play the victim. That's what he said. I think that shows you a lot about the calculations at play here. Drop the lawsuits, Ethan. Drop the lawsuits. You know they're frivolous. You know it has nothing to do with copyright or anything like that. You'll win a lot more good favor if you were to do that. I know you think that the people that you're attacking are unfavorable by the new audience that you have cultivated, but it's a good gesture.
What a petty, balding bitch. If only he listened to his friends at the time. Brother, please. More like if only you cared about your friend being absolutely slaughtered by your community and you just letting it happen because you felt slighted and didn't have the courage to say what your chat was saying yourself. Honestly, it never really ceases to surprise me how Hassan can make everything about himself even when nobody is talking about him. Like, the ego of this man is on another level. What do you mean you have done nothing wrong? There is actually, like, no way you can actually believe that. And this is why you don't give these freaks an inch, because then they take a mile. Ethan apologized about calling Israel diverse and beautiful in the wake of a genocide, and Hassan wasted absolutely zero time to use this as a weapon against him, to call him and his criticisms racist, and so he could gatekeep that very genocide he keeps claiming he cares so much about. Whew. Hassan never ceases to amaze me with how petty and disingenuous he could be. Jeez. Anyway, guys, I said my bit. Hope you guys liked the video, and if you did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. And if you want to see more content like this, then YouTube thinks you'll like this video right here.